Welcome back to Sub-Zero Hero 2.0. Now, I don't want to alarm anybody, but we're 19 games into the season and we're still top of the league, but the chasing pack are closing in. And in fact, over the last 3 games, we have not been performing well. If we lose our game today and Rosenborg and Vålerenga win theirs, well, it really is going to start getting very tight at the top of that table. Okay, I guess we shouldn't be too pouty about a 5-point lead after 19 games of the season, but over the last 3 fixtures, we have not looked in very convincing form. We've got a 5-point gap over Vålerenga. Rosenborg are a further 3 points back. All 3 of us play games against teams in the bottom half of the table today. We are up against Odd, who are 12th. We would expect both of our title rivals to win their game, so we've got to go out and do our bit. But if we show you the form since the last episode, you can see why we've got some mild concerns. So before we played Bodø/Glimt in that last episode, I was starting to doubt whether we had a tactic on our hands that was going to be able to break teams down that were sitting deep against us. Initially, that proved unfounded because we got 3 goals against Bodø/Glimt. We then stuck 7 past Brann, with Roy the boy getting 4 of them. And then we scored 4 in our next game. We contrived to lose this game. How? Well, your guess is as good as mine. We raced into a 2-goal lead, scoring in the 1st and the 9th minute before Abdelali Lakassi did a horror challenge right over on the sideline, nowhere near the goal, to get himself sent off pretty early. So we then had the best part of 75 minutes to play with only 10 men. They, of course, cross the free kick in and score from it. And you start to look a little bit doubtful as to whether you'll get a result out of this game. Fortunately, Larsen Pliem took over either side of half-time, scoring a 3rd and a 4th. And at 4-1, you're thinking, even with 10 men, we can't throw this away. Well, throw this away we did, because they scored in the 58th, the 60th, then the 79th to equalise, and the 87th to win the game. And this is a shot that should never be going in, if I'm honest with you. Our goalie, well, he was just diving at thin air, and he didn't cover himself in glory with one of the earlier goals either. So that was our first defeat of the season against a Sandefjord side who are okay, but at 4-1 up, even with 10 men, we should have seen that game out. Fortunately, we bounced back to imperious ways because we played Start and we stuck 5 goals past them. And again, we played pretty well. And you'll see there was a hat-trick for the Judge Reinhold in this game. And even though he doesn't have the most spectacular of attributes, I'd say he's rapidly becoming one of our most important players. He's got 10 assists and 8 goals in just 13 league starts. He's also got a further 5 assists in the cup as well. He is playing far better than some of his contemporaries that seem to have much better attributes. However, that was the end of the convincing wins. In the next game against Haugesund, who are a mid-table side, when we needed a late winner from Christian Pettersen to scrape a 1-0 win before a game that really could have gone a long way towards giving us a healthier gap at the top of the table. We were playing Rosenborg and we played well in this game. Look at the XGs. We were certainly on top, but we could only score 1 goal. And then, wouldn't you know it, in the 92nd minute of the game, they get a free kick out wide. Our old nemesis, they rise at the far post, head it past a keeper who again is clutching at proverbial straws. And we've only got a 1-1 draw. And then in our latest fixture against Sarpsborg, well, it's 1 goal for us again. This time it was enough to grab us the victory, but that goal didn't come until after they'd had a man sent off. And if you have a look at the XG, well, we might have had more shots, but we really didn't convince in this game. So today, we're going into the match against Odd knowing we need a much better performance. So in terms of getting an improved performance, I'm afraid we're going to be without a couple of key players. The Arctic Tiger, Ari Tigerson, has picked up a suspension for this game due to the number of bookings that he's amassed. You're calling an 18-year-old central defender one of your key players, but over recent games, that is exactly what he has become. As he started to put in some imperious displays, his attributes are now improving very, very well. If you look at his physicals, he is looking like a superb defender, and he's started to draw the attentions of some pretty big clubs now, including Lazio and Napoli. And for a boy with a fairly ambitious personality, when those clubs come calling towards the end of the transfer window, I would not be surprised if he started stamping his feet, wanting a move. But the Tiger is probably not the biggest miss for us today. That's going to be Alban Llama, nowhere near as good a player, but the only really left back that we have at the club. We could give a debut to Sami Fjellheim-Vijk, but I think he's a little bit raw and can really do with a season out on loan to try and develop some of these attributes. I'm not sure he's really ready for first team football. So what we've done instead is we've recalled a non-sub-zero hero from a loan spell. Henry Adu is only 5'6". He's by no means as good as Delmar is, and we've actually called him back from a loan spell against today's opponents. He only walked through the door this morning, and he's going to be stepping out to play against the club who we trained with yesterday. Fingers crossed he can at least give us a good game or two while Delmar is suspended, because I think he might be better than some of the younger alternatives going forward. Well, we've got pretty much our first choice players available. Kirkvold has not been playing well recently, and we've just had a number of chats with him over the last 4 games. He's picked up 6.4, 6.6, 6.7 ratings and thrown in his best performance of the 4 to get a 6.9. We've told him that his recent form is pretty poor. In fact, if you have a look before he picked up a little injury, he was only picking up 6s before those games as well. So we've told him that we need a little bit more. But further forward than that, we've been getting some good performances. So Bratton has just returned from a suspension of his own. He's going back into the game for today's game. Sturvold is now fully signed up and at the club. The fans were completely underwhelmed and questioned why we were bringing in a player who'd had such a poor loan spell, had an average rating of almost a 7, and those demanding Tromsdalen fans were calling that a poor loan spell. And then up front today, we're going to have Skogdal Reinholdsson, and then Larsen Pleam up front. Larsen Pleam is just going through another little dip in form, perhaps not in terms of his average ratings, but he's now 4 games without a goal, having ratcheted up 4 in 2 in the 2 matches before that. So hopefully he can get back to scoring ways today. We're going to have Roy the Boy on the bench, Skogvang Pedersen on the bench, and a player who I think could be leading the line for us next season if Larsen Pleam doesn't rejoin, because Christian Pettersson at 17 years old is also developing very nicely in training. Those are the boys we're going to ask to go out there and help cement our lead at the top of the table, because if we win today, we'll be 20 games down in a 30-game season, and we'll be no worse than 5 points clear at the top of the table, and suddenly things start to become a little bit more real. Okay, we're underway. We are the away team, but we're in our blue shirts. I'm worried about Abdulali Lakassi already. Even in the team talk before the game, he already had aggressive body language. I'm not sure why he's aggressive at such an early stage, but I'm worried about him getting booked, sent off, or giving away a penalty in this game, which is a bit of an important one for us. We need a much better performance than we've had in our recent 3 games. We haven't got it in the early stages, have we? We've had no highlights and only 1 shot, and we're racing our way through the first half of the first period, and we've not looked threatening at all. I think it's time to throw out an early shout of demand more, because we've not crafted a chance in the first 35. We could be racing our way, by the way, all the way through to half-time without having a single opportunity at goal. Larsen Pleam's going to try and put that right. He's got pace. Their defence can't live with the pace. Can he finish, though? He absolutely can. That is his first goal in 4. And Espen Larsen Pleam is back on the score sheet. Oh, and when it was a highlight for them from a set play, well, I was a little bit worried we might concede on the cusp of half-time, but Larsen Pleam has run through half of a pitch, dance past a man, and his pace is an absolute weapon at this level. It means that as the referee blows up for half-time, we've got ourselves a narrow lead up until that goal. Well, we weren't creating too much, but since then, it looks like we've improved. We're going to tell the boys we still expect an awful lot more in the second half. We're going to see if we can get out there and deliver. Okay, we are back underway and we are straight into the highlights. We decided to make a little change at half-time. Håkan Skogdahl, captain of the club, didn't have a particularly good first half. He was pulling a 6.5. We've got options on the bench. One of them is Skog van Pedersen, so we've brought him on. It's Skog for Skog. Over on the left, maybe Skog van Pedersen might be able to provide us a little bit more attacking impetus. We've got the ball with the Ting down over on the right. And here's the Judge. He's rapidly becoming, by the way, one of my favourite Sub-Zero heroes because of the assists and the goals that he has been racking up, despite the fact his attributes are not exceptional. And there is the Judge. By the way, it does dawn on me that calling Marcus Elias Reinholdsson the Judge is a particularly 1980s reference. Maybe one that needs Googling for you kids, but I am a huge Judge fan when he finishes like that. And we are now 2-0 up and we're into the highlights again. Can we win the ball back and put pressure on them once more? I think this might be straight from the kickoff, and we have won the ball back, and Larson Pleem's using that pace again. This time he's closed down and the ball gets deflected behind for a corner. Okay, back underway. Second change made. We've gone Sturvold off because he's been tiring in games recently. And we've brought on Christian Berntsen. And we've just swapped over Bratton and Berntsen so that Bratton is the Mazzala. Berntsen comes off and plays in the midfield in the box-to-box role. So we've got Bratton now coming forward, losing out on the ball. Whose highlight is this? They've gone long. Are they going to get a flick on? No, we've headed it clear. Now we've got hold of the ball. Here's the Judge. Always trust the Judge. He's cutting inside, even though he's playing as a conventional winger. He's taken a shot on his swinger of a left foot. Maybe he shouldn't. And we're racing towards the final 10. I think we've got one more change left in us. We're going to take off whoever is the most tired. And then we're going to get out there and see if we can see out this game with a clean sheet. Okay, going into the final 10, it was the Ting that was the most tired. So we've moved Berntsen over to right back now. And we've brought Illy Reno in to play in central midfield. And we've got the ball with Skog van Pedersen, who has gone over the top like Sylvester Stallone. Larson Pleem is in. And that was probably the easiest chance that we've had this afternoon. And he's fired it directly at the keeper. 10 minutes to go. We've slung in a set play. We're going to pick it up on the edge. The Judge gives it to Larson Pleem. Larson Pleem's lost the ball. Highlight continues though. Now it peters out. We've got an XG of 2.3. We've had 18 shots, only 5 on target. Maybe we've been a little bit wasteful in front of goal. We've given the ball away. Bratton's won it back. And we've got a bit of defending to do. We need to slide in and try and win it. We don't. We're relying on Monnier to make a save for us. There's still a threat on the counter. And we have got away with an effort there. He's punched it clear. That wasn't the most convincing bit of goalkeeping, was it? But we think we are going to get to the 90-minute mark with our 2-0 lead intact. That should be enough. We're also looking out for, by the way, Weatherrod are playing a player called Nordness today because we've been balancing the books. We've sold a player. It's one of our Sub-Zero heroes, but one who I don't think you've seen play a game, as the Judge thrashes another effort past the keeper to put us 3-0 up. There is a young player called Nordness who was 21 years old, had never really got much first-team football. He had reasonable attributes, but he was a right winger and he was not going to get game time ahead of the Judge or Skogdahl or Roy the Boy Henriksen. And some offers started coming in during the window that were pretty decent offers. And we managed to barter one of them up to 3.5 million. It came from Odd. And so we decided to cash in on him. It doesn't look like he made an appearance in today's game. We only sold him to them a week or so ago. But that was a good way of bringing in money. That means that we are almost out of our overdraft approaching the final third of the season. We're going to tell the boys that that was a good win. And we're also going to have a look at how the rivals got on today. Vålerenga have dropped points. They only drew 1-1. And Rosenborg got a comfortable win. But that means that the gap has been extended a little bit. We are now 7 points clear with 10 games to go. We've thrown away far greater leads than this before, but at least we've laid down a marker in that game. We've got a cup semi-final on the horizon as well. Then we've got some important league games, and we're going to be back for one of them because we are on the cusp of declaring these boys sub-zero heroes.